All right, so it's like bad connection, bad connection, bad connection. I think we're supposed to have that storm coming soon, so I think hopefully people can hear me and see me and whatever else. But um, I'm very glad for Trump. I'm very glad for Trump. I'm very glad what Trump's doing. I'm very glad he got rid of the DEI and etc. There's only been one really kind of big hiccup I've had with Trump and some of his policies and what he's doing to some of the more disabled people that he's kind of saying people got to go do this and that, or they feel that people feel that people got to go that can go do this and that they're going to take away their benefits and things, and then make people kind of hit them with like fees and things to pay back all the benefits and things that they were on and stuff, and leave them bankrupt, which I don't agree with, or don't really see eye to eye with. But I do agree with I do agree with a lot of what Trump and the Republicans are doing, especially with the immigration and especially with the DEI. As soon as the DEI went out the window, I was like, thank God. The DEI was so fucking ridiculous. It wasn't funny. And I kind of laughed too, because I was actually just at the Torrington Library, and I actually just laughed because I see a lot of books now from time to time where people are putting books by some of these woke doctors and these woke black doctors and these people that are so woke and etc. when it comes to Black lives and etc. I see a lot of their books on the shelves at the library for people to buy or etc. Of course, I saw one of my books I donated there, and then the next thing you know, it was gone. So somebody had bought it out. But I had donated at least 8 bags. I think like within the last 2 months, I had donated 8 bags, and then I got hit with some stuff with my housing stuff saying, oh, housing is having some issues, and we need you to take care of a bunch of stuff. So I'm basically taking care of a bunch of stuff now with housing out of my spare time or the time I have, just so I can keep my housing. But I don't even really want to keep my housing. If I can go to move somewhere else and go to a new housing project, I would. The only thing is, I've kind of looked at that too, and I said, if I had to go to another housing project and etc., right? Am I still going to be able to keep my internet, right? Am I still going to be able to keep my internet? Am I still going to be able to do the things I need to do with my online shopping and etc., the things that I enjoy doing and that are part of my daily life as an artist? So um I don't really like living in this building. I don't really like living in low income housing. I don't really like the struggles it's gave me or the mental health triggers and problems and trauma that it's given me over the last 15 years, and how people are handling it very poorly. How people handle the problem very poorly, and how it's been very poorly handled and really recklessly and poorly handled over the last 15 years. That this building seems to have a lot of problems and stuff, and nobody can seem to quench the problems. It just seems to crop up every so couple of years and etc. So the problem is they let fucking drug addicts and druggies and shit into the building, and then people wonder why this building is crawling with bugs and shit, because people are out and they're bringing in these bugs into the building, and it's just like uh. But anyways, the reason I actually came on is because I wanted to have a talk about kind of like the DEI stuff. And as everybody knows, I was very frustrated with the DEI stuff. I was frustrated because there was a big push. I had a friend that was the that became head of the Northwest Arts Council back in the day. We're not really friends, or we don't really talk anymore. But I knew somebody who was the head of the Northwest Arts Council, and she as soon as she got in there, wanted to start promoting her leftist views on Black Lives Matter, and how Black Lives Matter is going to be a part of how it's going to be intertwined into the Arts Council, and how it's going to be part of the Arts Council and all this other stuff, that it's going to be it's going to be a part of the situation and stuff. Um, there were a couple people at this place at Trinity Episcopal Church. I mean, they do a lot of stuff for the homeless, and they're doing a lot of stuff for like outreaches for the homeless and stuff. But there are some people that are part of Trinity Episcopal, and Trinity Episcopal has been known to, have the pride flag, hung outside their church, the pride flag, and and they've also had, some of the actual people that work there are, were very much promoting the culture and the cultural groups, that the things that were promoting the DEI and all the wokeness and all that stuff. So there's people at the Trinity Episcopal Church that obviously have, I don't know if they work there still, but I think, with all these changes that are coming, hopefully that are going to be more Republican and more conservative, we can kind of root out some of these people that, have had for like the last several years taken over the arts or taken over this or that in Torrington and made everything really a wokeism type of problem where it's more about color and it's more about colorism and stuff like that than an actual person, a human being, or who you are or what you bring to the table as an artist. Um, of course, they're going to judge you and say that we're judging you as you are, as who you are as a human being, because you don't fit our leftist views, you don't fit our communistic, Marxist views, and all this other shit, Um, but they need to really go through some of these people in Torrington and look at some of these businesses and stuff and find out who really is promoting the DEI and stuff and kind of give them a fine or something, kind of demote them or try to have Trump or somebody come up with something where people get demoted for supporting DEI and wokeism and woke culture and stuff like that. Because it's very bad to society. It was very bad to me and my mental health. And people say, "What's wrong with your mental health? What's wrong with your mental health?" Could it be that some of the people I was getting involved in are pushing all this wokeism and pushing all this crap on me about my colorism and making me feel wrong for being white and kind of being anti-white about towards me and etc. That I had to feel some type of way about my own self-esteem because people are promoting their racism towards me as a white person. So it's absolutely fucking ridiculous, and it's absolutely fucking ridiculous that this was going on in the arts and certain people and that were supposedly in charge of the district were considered more democratic or liberal back in the day. So this was obviously what people got away with, is that there was such more of a liberal push among local businesses and the Arts Council and the local fairs and things, that everything's being pushed into more of a liberal democratic sense for with DEI and etc. Obviously the arts are a more liberal thing, or the arts can be a liberal thing, or I think the arts can be a conservative thing too, and that's also what I wanted to get into too, is because during all this time and stuff too, that I was obviously making friends, or I thought I had friends, but obviously I don't have friends because we obviously don't agree. And because when you don't agree and you don't, you kind of feel like your opinion differentiates from the group, you seem to get outcasted and, treated like a piece of shit, basically. So, but I was outcasted and etc. But I thought, for a couple of different reasons, I thought I was still going to have my publishing deal with the National Beat Poetry Foundation, and I don't. And the reason why is because we had issues over business. We had issues over business and who was working with who in business, and they still wanted to work with some of the more people that betrayed me, and some of the more wokeism people are the people that were promoting the DEI and the wokeism and stuff like that, because I don't know why she was feeling like she was doing that. The head of the National Beat Poetry Foundation, which is more of a foundation and more of a like a fundraiser foundation type thing, more than it actually is like a celebrity thing. But because it's such a very well known foundation and it has a really strong grassroots of a foundation, it was tied to some of my heroes, like Ann Waldman, Bob Dylan, and etc. Where they've actually reached out to Ann Waldman at times and given Ann Waldman awards and Bob Dylan awards, and these people awards, Johnny Depp an award. They giving awards to Johnny Depp even after he was accused, or they wanted to kind of what's that word, cancel culture him about basically his situation, about his case where he was saying that they were claiming he was abusing what's her name, Amber Heard, which was totally false. But regardless of the factor, I looked up to these people. I looked at, Ian Waldman and Johnny Depp too. I mean, obviously they were two very influential people and two very influential artists, and obviously worked with people like Patti Smith and maybe Michael Stipe and etc. And then there's a reason why I've kind of gone off and kind of said things about Michael Stipe and kind of put blows to Michael Stipe and put blows to Patti Smith and etc. Although it's not it may not be really their fault. It may not be really their fault, and etc. But unfortunately, the lady who runs the foundation for the National Beat Poetry Foundation, who seems to be getting all the glory for having the foundation and having to be able to run the foundation, etc., and then having to get her fame and fortune off of those people and off of those artists and etc. Because she has that foundation. She and I had issues, and they should have been the most simplest issues to resolve, but obviously you can't make people view the way that you want people to view things, or have people do the things that you want them to do at times. And it was a really big blow and a really big surprise to me that I ended up losing the National Beat Poetry Foundation as a publisher. Because I was actually really enjoying them as a publisher. I mean, I was also getting published with Local Gems Press. I mean, I had a lot of issues with Hartford's Lit, but Hartford's Lit and I had issues that were personal, and then we had issues about the DEI and stuff too, and some of their friends were tied to cultural groups and things that obviously were pushing DEI and being very anti-white and being very racist to me and very derogatory towards me as a white person and etc. because they were black and they wanted to see color and kind of put me down and put my image and what who I was as a person down because of my skin color. So so it was actually between two groups. This is everything blew up everything blew out of proportion after during or after the pandemic, where there were protests and different things for Black Lives Matter in Waterbury. There were protests and things for Black Lives Matter in Torrington. And there were protests and things for Black Lives Matter and all this wokeism stuff in Hartford. And I don't really have too many ties to Waterbury too much, except there were a couple of artists and stuff I knew through some of my artist friends in like Hartford and stuff like that. I had a lot of artist friends in Hartford and etc. And unfortunately, they threw me to the wolves, so they let their friends pretty much walk all over me and be very anti-racist to me. Not even anti-racist, basically be racist to me, and they should have been anti-racist, but they were being racist to me because they are basically anti-white. They were being anti-white to me and being very racist because they wanted to see color and they wanted to make it a colorism thing. And obviously I couldn't love a black woman. I couldn't love or, date or respect a black woman because I'm white and she's obviously a black woman and we come from two different backgrounds and two different cultures. And so that was totally taboo for anybody who would see color or skin color or promote anti-whiteism, that I can't love or see a black woman, or be connected to a black woman. So, but at this point, I'm doing what I need to do. It was a surprise to me that I actually got dropped. I mean, it was a situation where a lot of people were making an issue about my mental health, and these were a lot of probably people that were among my woke people that were my friends, or I thought were my so-called friends, and they were among all the woke people and all the woke artists that were promoting DEI and Black Lives Matter and all this cultural stuff that I was supposed to either be a part of or fall in line and get with it. Otherwise, I was going to be, censored or trolled or, pretty much outcasted like some type of like loser or whatever else. So I went from really having a career and trying to have a career and trying to see, I thought I had a good following and a good career and etc. But it turns out that maybe a lot of the people I was actually had as a following and etc. A lot of those people were supporting DEI. A lot of those people were supporting racism towards white people. They were supporting DEI. They were supporting the racist group Black Lives Matter. They were supporting the communism. And all this stuff that really was hurting America. That obviously was changed when I voted in Trump. And I voted in Trump on purpose. I did that on purpose. I mean, people people should know it by now that that was basically done on purpose. There was basically a reason that Trump won and Trump got into office, and that's because I voted for him. Obviously you got to be careful who you say that to, because there's some crazy leftists and stuff out there that obviously will try to basically assault you and stuff if they because they're all so unhinged and etc. that because they feel a different type of way and they can't handle the situation, they can't handle somebody else's different views of an opinion. But regardless, I voted for Trump. I'm a Trump supporter. I have no sympathies. I have no sympathies for what he's doing to people, the immigrants that are coming here illegally, and that's the key. Everybody misses the fact that when they say they're coming here illegally, that people want to whine and say, "Oh, my people, my people." Well, if your people were coming here illegally, they wouldn't be getting kicked out of the country and wouldn't have to have issues and stuff if they weren't, if they were here legally. It wouldn't have to be an issue, but you're crying over my people, which half the people getting deported are criminals and people with criminal records that don't belong here and no ties to the the United States of America to begin with. No, not only that, that just it was such a headache. It was such a headache, and I think a lot of this stuff happened where the turning point also is that because there's a lot that was happening. There was a lot that was happening with a lot of cultural stuff and the cultural push within the galleries and within like some of the local churches and the Arts Council and stuff. But I also got a job working for a soul food restaurant because obviously I like soul food. I am very cultural. I'm not DEI. That's one thing about me that I'm going to say to people now is I'm not DEI. I'm for culture, but I'm not for DEI. So I don't give a flying rat's ass about the DEI stuff, about your pronouns and all this other shit, about whether you think you're a he, she, or whether chopping off your body parts or etc. But I am for culture. I am for the cultural foods. I am for culture. I am for like the arts. Some people be like, how could you be for culture and the arts if you don't support if you don't support DEI and the cultural people that come to the arts and all the different backgrounds and but you can still be for culture and you can still be for the arts and still be for things artistically, without having to be for DEI. I mean, how to really do that now is what I'm really working on, is trying to separate, the two after I kind of mesh the two together for a very amount of a long few amount of years that, I'm trying to now separate the two. And I still now go to local restaurants and I still that are cultural and I still get food and stuff like that, but it's not like a DEI thing. I don't go there and tell people like, oh, I'm telling you my pronouns or I'm telling you about my skin color, or stuff like that, because that's the kind of shit is just really unhelpful and really just not really good to society. So but no, I mean, I do. I mean, I support the local library. I mean, obviously, I donated my cultural books and that were obviously leftist and stuff like that. I donated them to the library. Part of me could have just thrown them out and etc. But because I paid good money for them, and I was debating on the fact that I was like, what do I do with these? Even though I don't really agree with the politics and half the crap that it says in these books, what do I do with them? Because half the poets and half the stuff I read is about feminism and Marxism and communism and anti-whiteism and colorism and all this other shit that really is hurting America. So it's like, what do I do with these books, and how do I just throw them out and waste my money? Because either way, I wasted my money. It's just like, but I decided to donate them to the library and kind of give back, because it's like, I just don't really agree with all this, with all that's being preached in these books and etc. So don't mind me, I got lemon in my cup. I mean, the water looks a little dark because I had soda in my cup and then I had lemon in my cup and then I put seltzer in my cup. So it's a little bit of soda and water at this point, but I'm trying to stay hydrated with both. But no, I don't support DEI, and I think the hand I was dealt with the National Beat Poetry Foundation was really kind of wrong. Although I didn't really predict that, kind of, because it's at the same time, you hear things like that. Some of the beats and some of the beat poets were actually Republican. You hear some of the beat poets were actually Republican, and some of the beat poets were actually a part of society, and they were actually Republicans that were taking were taking part in joining the beats and things against the cultural push against censorism and stuff like that. But um, unfortunately, some Republicans and good strong Republicans now kind of have to, after the last couple of years about what everybody's been through, have looked at DEI and say DEI is kind of harmful. And obviously, we got into a fight over DEI. Me and the head of the National Beat Poetry Foundation. We got into an argument and fight over it because she wanted to work with the people that I've obviously had issues with and business issues with about who I wanted to work with and the social connections and etc. And some of it had to do with the DEI push and all this DEI stuff that was happening within the arts that was obviously hurting me and the local community, or at least some people who want to partake. There's obviously people in Torrington, obviously, like everybody, there's the Republican people that obviously voted for Trump, and then there's a bunch of people that now try to take over the arts that were obviously leftist and communist and anti-white and all the Marxism and racism and anti-whiteism that they have. So, but regardless, it's it's very wrong that this has happened to the arts. That the arts has become such a very anti-white, very because white people have a culture too. I mean, white people have a culture, and there's cultural aspects about different cultures within Europe and things about making somebody white and who they are as a person. And we just dismiss the white culture for the fact that we want to just say, oh, Black Lives Matter. We're just going to make it all about the black culture and the colorism of blackness and the colorism of this. And because you're white, you can't say this. And if you don't agree with us, you're basically outcasted or tabooed because you're not following what we say or the crowd. Not only that, I had a situation like one Martin Luther King weekend. I originally was friended. I originally was friended by somebody before all this DEI stuff was happening, and kind of got involved with some of the local artists and things that I've fallen out with over other business reasons and stuff. But some of it's still having to do with the DEI push and some of the local cultural stuff that they were trying to get into with the DEI push, and seeing kind of colorism and anti-whiteism and stuff like that. Is that there was a Martin Luther King weekend, and a Martin Luther King weekend, I was invited to go to a Martin Luther King thing and kind of speak on what I thought about black culture and etc. Unfortunately, there were some personal issues, and the person I was talking to at the time that kind of befriended me and etc. I had somebody befriend me, and I had somebody talk to me and stuff like that, and kind of befriend me to find out what I was up to and what I was getting involved in and stuff, because people were thinking about reaching out to the galleries and stuff at the time and trying to get involved with the galleries, and somebody kind of reached out to me because they knew I was kind of involved with the galleries, and they saw kind of what I was doing and stuff like that, and they kind of wanted their cultural stuff to be a part of it, and I was kind of leery about it, and I became definitely more leery about it after the first couple of interactions. But the first real interaction happened where I got called out for being a racist. I got called out for being a racist because I said something about interracial relationships and the fact that I wanted to love outside my race and love a black woman. That I got called out for being racist because I wanted to love a black woman. I'm supposedly white, and because their anti-white stances or their anti-white views are basically telling me that I can't I'm not allowed to really love outside my race or be respected by anybody outside my race because it's taboo, it's against the norms, or it's against the DI social wokeness, or you're a race traitor. What they call you was a race traitor, or you know black women get called certain, black women that are, multicultural or, biracial get called different things for, being like this. But there's just people that are kind of like mutts or biracial or, or and I'm gonna say even they could be biracial or they could be multicultural, have a multicultural, upbringing like myself that, we get called different. We get called all these racial things and stuff like that because, we say something that people feel is against the social norms and people do not agree and etc. And it really kind of fucks up society, but um basically basically there was a black woman I hadn't seen for like 8 to 10 years. I hadn't seen her for 8 to 10 years, but when I saw her, which obviously was like through my mental health program, I saw this woman through my mental health program 8 to 10 years ago. I met her through some of the people I was hanging out with through my mental health program. I kind of was introduced to her, and she kind of invited me over in such situations, and then my friend was kind of telling me things like, oh, I think she's gonna want to make out with you and stuff like that, and if you kiss her, try to lean in, I kind of told him I never really kissed a girl before. He's like, well, try to lean in and kiss her properly and stuff like that. So, I mean, obviously people kind of knew that. I think some people kind of knew that she was obviously gonna, have sex with me or something. But basically that's what she kind of did. I mean, she was obviously, obviously it was a big issue because obviously she was a black woman, which that it was never an issue about her skin color up until the point that that Martin Luther King Day, 10 years later. I mean, I said something about interracial relationships or having biracial people in my family, and everybody calls me out or kind of gets mad at me because they feel like I was racist or something for talking about my family members being black when they wanted to hear about the black community or why I support the black community. But yeah, as a white person, I can't talk about anything that's biracial or interracial without being called racist or taboo or race traitor. So it was basically a big bullshitting type of thing. But regardless, that this black woman basically she was with child, and she cheated. So I found a really fucked up situation with her. I mean, I wasn't like feeling 100% myself, and had a lot of mental health issues and things going on back in the day and stuff. But this black woman basically, kind of befriended me, or kind of got, we kind of got acquainted with each other. And the first original get together, she kind of thought I was creepy because I tried to lean in for the kiss, like my friend had said. My friend was like, well, try to lean in for the kiss and try to be, try not to creep her out about it. But I tried to lean in for a kiss and she got freaked out about it. So, and then she asked me to leave and I left. But then she invited me back over, and then she kind of decided she was going to use me. It was kind of mutually agreed upon. I was struggling and I don't know where the fuck I was in my own head for this to happen. But I was actually basically used for, by a pregnant black woman in town, when she was basically with child, and she had to have sex basically with, you know, me or possibly 15 other people. Who knows how many other people she was sleeping with? But she could have been sleeping with a bunch more other people for all I know, when I wasn't around, and etc. But it went on for a couple of months and etc. When supposedly I was told her baby's father wasn't in the picture, and all this stuff had happened, so it went on for a couple months, and, then all of a sudden, that whole situation when I first originally met her and stuff, after a couple of months, she kind of tells me, oh, he's getting out of rehab and stuff like that. You better run because he's not happy. He's going to hurt you. He's going to hurt you. He's going to like come after you and stuff like that, or he wants to hurt you and like, hurt your life and stuff like that. So basically I grabbed my stuff and I left, and I never talked to her again. I ended up a couple months later changing my numbers and just never talking to the woman again. I don't know what was going on with this person. I don't know what the hell was happening. I mean, I heard rumors and things, or different things that these things might be happening, or this is happening, or etc. A lot of it's like rumors and he say, she say stuff that was never really true, or maybe it was true. I don't even know, because I had moved on. Basically what it was basically supposed to be a fuck, and it turned out to be a fuck. After several months of fucking and etc., it turned out to be a fuck, and it was a fuck. And then she kind of said, ditched me and said, I'm done with you. This is where, our friends with benefits or friends with whatever kind of ends. You got to go. I said, okay. So I ended the situation, and I ended up going, I ended up having my own mental health issues and my own mental health, issues and things that obviously had me, having some struggles that kind of led me away from the situation. And I never looked back at the situation, but here we are, like, basically, like 10 years later, and so this woman pops up out of the blue after she tells me I need to run and watch my back about her baby, about her baby and her baby's her baby's father, because she basically used me, which obviously turned out to be consensual. At first she thought I was creepy, and she had all her friends calling me creepy and etc., because she went and made a bunch of drama that told them I was all creepy and stuff, so everybody was going around saying I was creepy. But yet this woman invited me back like 2 or 3 in the morning or late at night. She would invite me back to her place, and we basically would be hooking up and doing what we were doing. So but the whole situation, my reputation with the situation was spotty at best, because her friends were, because her the first interaction, which didn't go well. A lot of people wanted to say, oh, he's creepy, he's this and that, and etc. But regardless of the situation, she popped up 10 years later, and I didn't want to go near her because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if I was going to have to still run for my life or get involved in some drama with a baby's father, or basically, have to run for my life. And she could have just been telling me that to just get out of her hair and never talk to her again. But either way, she kind of popped up in the arts. She popped up in the arts, and she was already well acquainted with the art gallery owner that I was kind of involved with for like the last, for like 5 years or so, or more. She was already acquainted with, the gallery owner somehow. So I don't know, maybe through like the cultural church, because she might have attended the cultural church and had like it said. Because I heard rumors from the woman who invited me, basically, that, because I mentioned to her about, there was only a few black people I knew in town that I've only had, kind of connections with, and there was one woman that I mentioned who that woman was that was actually pregnant to one of the people that I was talking to from the church. And she said, and she didn't say, she said some stuff to me, but she didn't say too much. But she was obviously more interested in what I was doing and what I was up to, and obviously she right away was looking at my character. Right away she was looking at this woman from the church was looking at like my character and then like my flaws, about saying like, oh well, you're impulsive, and you're this and you're that, and you're, and she's telling me all these things about my character, and things like, like all these downfalls about who I am, and and all these things about my mental health and stuff like that. But she said, she said she knew who that person was. She knew who, some other people were in the black community that I had issues with within my mental health program, and etc. But luckily none of them really showed up, except for this pregnant the woman that was obviously once pregnant and black, that showed up, that I obviously was kind of fling with almost like 8 to 10 years ago before. So she comes and shows up in my situation and stuff like that, and I don't really know what to expect. And I mean, obviously, one of the people that obviously said I was racist and pulled me aside and said I was racist for talking about interracial relationships and biracial children, because after she got up there, after the pregnant woman got up there, and I kind of was asked to speak after her about why I liked, I liked black, the black community, and why I wanted to support the black community, or etc. That, because obviously she went up there and talked about her biracial son and, her relationships. And so I get up there and talk about my biracial family, because I have a biracial family. I'm not even trying to be racist to the woman. I mean, I really do have a biracial niece. I have a biracial niece that's obviously part black. I mean, she kind of was being raised to see color and stuff too. She's being raised to see color, and she's being raised with all that DEI and wokeism shit and stuff like that. So there's a lot of issues when it comes to her too as well. My actual niece is that, that because she's obviously part black and she's obviously sees her white family and she doesn't feel really accepted or etc. because that's what she's being taught. That's what people of her skin color teaches her, that her family would never love her, accept her because she's black, and she has to see color in us, and we see color in her. We don't really see her as family. So, but you know, regardless of the factor, I mean, I talked about my biracial niece. I talked about, just having black family. I've talked about having black family and wanting to have black family, wanting to have biracial children. Because I even want to have biracial children on my own. There's a thing about me wanting to have biracial children on my own, and I mean, so my niece probably wouldn't be the only one in the family that would be biracial. There's other people. I want to have other I personally would like to have biracial children, but am I going to be able to raise a child and stuff and the situation in my life and etc.? Well, that's a different story. That's a whole nother video. But there was a point when I was talking about wanting to have biracial children and etc. And so that was a situation. I was called out for being racist for it right after the pregnant black woman that I actually hadn't seen for like 10 years or so. She got up and spoke, and I got told I was racist and etc. because I was white and talking about interracial love and black biracial children and basically things I was just thinking were about relationships and love and loving one another and building families and stuff, which obviously people thought was racist because they saw my skin color as white and they wanted to put all this emphasis on me being white and them being black. So but I wasn't welcome in the club. But I knew very strongly after a couple of months of of all these situations and stuff going on, especially when a lot of the Black Lives Matter rallies and protests and stuff happened here in town and happened in the community here, here out in the community and out in the downtown area, that I knew head on that I obviously was headed for a lot of trouble and a lot of issues with the DEI and wokeness. How some of the people even at the rallies, for me believing differently or me wanting to believe that white people mattered also and etc. That I was obviously threatened. I was obviously threatened of being having harm done to me, and I was actually suggested that they hope that I actually did get harm done to me, and and etc. Sorry, my throat's getting sore, but yeah, regardless, it's a very anti-white culture thing. It's a very anti-white culture thing. It's a very DI is very harmful to white people. It really is. It's very harmful to the overall thing of like a sane and safe society, because obviously this colorism thing is also teaching people of color to kind of be above the law, because the law is unjust and the law is unfair to them and etc. So it's teaching them to kind of rally and act out and destroy businesses and destroy culture and destroy all these properties and things, when really they should really be doing things a whole totally different way and totally differently respectful. But I mean, I haven't talked to this black woman. I haven't talked to this black woman since that I've obviously, was obviously, in a relationship with, that was kind of like a beneficial relationship where, I would go over her house and she would feed me and stuff. And I would go to I'd be walking around town and I would bring her like pie. I would bring her like pie from Burger King and stuff. I would bring her pie and I would bring her things that she could enjoy and stuff like that. So, and she gave me some pie. So, she gave me some pie and that and much more. So, and she also gave me a place to rest, because I was in a place where I wasn't able to rest in my own home, and I was kind of walking the streets late at night, like 3 a.m, and so I was up walking the streets and up walking around. I even got stopped by a couple cops in the middle of the night asking me like, "Why are you walking around town in the middle of the night?" I'm like, "I don't know." I mean, I literally don't know. I mean, I literally can't sleep in my apartment. There's no peace in my apartment. There's no peace where I live, and I just haven't had any type of peace and stuff like that. I wasn't at peace, and I couldn't. I just need to get out of my own home, even in the middle of the night. I need to just go for that walk, that late night walk, that the one that will go out and hopefully clear your head when you return. Um, and that was back when I was walking all over town. I used to walk all over town all the time. There was one morning. It was one morning I walked all the way up to Walmart, and then I took the back roads all the way down, all the way down the hill, and I ended up all the way over by the donut station, all the way over by Big Y. So, so I mean, I was walking around a lot at one point, and I was just like halfway out of my mind, and not really in a good position, and stuff like that. Another reason why that person wants to go come after me too is because, obviously that person was obviously gonna be cheating or whatever she was doing with me on the side, because she was obviously pregnant with somebody else's son, who I was obviously told that guy wasn't in the picture. But obviously next time I find myself in a situation like that, I shouldn't even bother, because it's so easy for a woman to lie, even if you're feeling hormonal and etc. It's so easy for a woman to lie and put you in shit. The other thing about the situation is that, I mean, I don't want to say I was being a jerk. I was like overly stressed out, and I think a lot of fucked up things were happening in my life. But I mean, obviously, we were actually, there was a point where I was actually intimate with the woman, and actually, the condom actually fell off during sex. So the condom actually fell off, and I was kind of raw dogging it. So. So there, there's been a lot of, speculation about the whole situation now, because, I was kind of raw dogging it because the condom fell off. And I was, some people I heard rumors, some people saying, oh, well, you changed the DNA a little bit, or you changed that, or you changed this, or, and etc. And I've heard all these rumors about things like that, but and that's also why the baby's father wanted to come and hurt me, or, kill me, or whatever the hell he was going to do. Other than the fact that we were cheating, is the fact that, the baby didn't look like me, the baby didn't look like him, because obviously, she cheated, and obviously we had a mishap in the midst of like her cheating on whoever the baby's father was, because obviously she was horny or whatever else she tended to do. But, regardless, DEI is hurtful, and I hear rumors about the guy. I hear rumors about, these things when it comes to, having to watch my back, and about me being safe, and me being safe in town, and me being, I've had a lot of rumors, and I have a lot of them are not even rumors. I mean, I've had a lot of incidences. I've had a lot of incidences where people have actually kind of told me, I hope you get jumped. I hope you're not safe. I hope you're not safe for this. You're not safe for that, and etc. When it comes to my well-being and stuff like that, a lot of people are telling me they hope I'm not safe, and they hope harm comes to me, and etc. So, I mean, I should have a right to feel safe in a town that's supposed to be my home, and etc. But one thing that made the issues kind of worse, especially on my safety stuff, which I didn't tell anybody about the safety stuff. A lot of people don't even care. That probably care about the fact that I obviously was intimate with the woman like 10 years or 8 years ago before. But a lot of people might not care about the intimate stuff, but I mean, a lot of it led to a lot of it supposedly was going to lead to unsafe shit. A lot of it was supposed to lead to unsafe shit that was obviously questionable about my life, and about the safety of my well-being, and DEI and the wokeism kind of ignored that. DEI and the wokeism kind of ignored the safety of my well-being, and etc. when it came to the situation of things that were supposed to be, I don't know, but you know what I'm trying to say. The whole thing is like my safety was at risk because of DEI and that whole situation. That's basically how I felt. Whether it is or it isn't, who the fuck knows? But DEI was doing some harm to me. Socially, it was doing harm to me. Mentally, it was doing harm to me. it could have did a lot more harm to my social reputation in town if that pregnant black woman didn't do a lot of already fucked up shit to it. And some other people that I know in the black community that I've obviously tried to connect with, that obviously it wasn't mutual, but because it wasn't mutual and stuff like that, nobody can handle their feelings or nobody can handle what was going on and stuff like that, that certain people got to go about going around town and acting a certain way and saying shit about me in a very bad and derogatory light and etc. and stuff like that. So, I'm for the most part too. In the earlier days when I came to Torrington, I had a lot of family. I had a lot of family aspects in the earlier days when I came to Torrington. I had a lot of family aspects, especially after high school and stuff. I had a lot of family things going on. I wasn't even always in Torrington. I had times where I was able to get out of Torrington. I wasn't always in Torrington. I've had times where I was out and about and I was doing other things, and I was in a whole nother town, or I was in a whole other place in Connecticut because I was able to travel and go to this place and that place, or go see family, which I don't get to go see family and stuff too often either. Um, But the bottom line is, DEI was going to put me in some unsafe situations, and I did mention it to one person about, while questioning about my safety and how safe I am because of a situation that happened 10 to 8 years ago with, that supposed woman that, is getting so chummy with the gallery owner that wants to promote and push DEI, or, he took the gallery owner that I was obviously supporting and stuff like that way before the whole DEI stuff. Took the whole DEI stuff more favorable than me supporting him as an artist, or what I could do as an artist to support him. He took the DEI stuff more favorable and stuff like that when it came to supporting the black community and stuff like that, and more of his anti-white push to be anti-white and etc. when he came to deciding he was going to promote the DEI and the wokeism and the racism and the communism and all those stuff that comes with the wokeism leftist party. So I don't give a fuck or flying ass rat or whatever the fuck you want to call it for the gallery owner. I don't give a fuck about him. I really don't give a fuck about him. I mean, obviously, I've attended like art shows and things at his gallery and stuff. I got to live my life and attend things, but some of the things I got to attend and some of the things I got to do were not that great. They were not that great. They were not that great, and etc. and stuff like that. So, but the other thing too is that I also, I had an employer. The other thing I forgot to say too is I had an employer because I also worked for Tequannas Soul Food and Sweets, and I worked for Tequanna, and Tequanna was a very promiscuous woman. She is a very promiscuous woman. You can go to her Facebook page, or and stuff like that, and you can see her like in lingerie and kind of like without a bra on, like with her shirt without a bra on, and all these things that obviously show that she's very sexually promiscuous and stuff like that. And obviously when I tried to know her, I was trying to get to know her in like a friendship kind of compatibility business type of way, but I kind of put it in more like a business friendship type of way, I don't know what I put it in. I mean, the whole situation got blown up out of proportion with Tequanna, and I mean, obviously, I kind of did like Tequanna. I mean, as a guy who supports interracial relationships and supports, wanted to support the black community, and the whole reason I supported the black community and stuff like that is because of my love and respect to hopefully find an interracial relationship, and for the people who have obviously looked for interracial relationships and stuff like that. But it doesn't matter where you are, white people or black people. Everybody's going to have something to say about interracial relationships. People are not going to always be happy that a white person and a black person are mixing cultures, or mixing with mixing blood, or mixing at all at that point. So, but I mean, I worked for Tequanna. I mean, I had some mental health issues because Tequanna's promiscuousism basically was a heavy thing on my mental health. Her promiscuousism was a heavy thing on my mental health because deep down, I started kind of realizing she was promiscuous and she was doing all the things that she was doing. And if I honestly, I would lie, I'd be lying if I told that if I didn't tell everybody that I still kind of, if even if she was being promiscuous and stuff like that, but if I wanted to partake, I mean, there's a part of me that would have almost partook with Tequana on her promiscuousism. I've said that in other videos that there's a part of me that would have partook in some of Tequana's promiscuousism and stuff like that, but instead, she kind of used her promiscuousism and her feminine charm, and stuff like that to use me as a pawn and stuff to get what she wanted for her business, to get what she wanted for her business, and to get what she wanted to have me work for manual labor without having to pay me and stuff like that. She was trying to devise a clever way to kind of get one over on me to not have to pay me for manual labor and stuff to work for her store. Granted, it lasted, like 24 to 48 hours, and then I kind of realized a bunch of shit, and I walked off the job because I had issues with certain things on the job, and I had certain things I could do and stuff like that. And, my coworker at the time that was working with me at Tequannas was saying I was doing a lot of effort for her, and I was doing a lot of things I could do for her and trying my best to try to do what I could do for her, And part of me felt like I was trying my best too, but obviously my best wasn't appreciated. It was undervalued, and my whole situation was undervalued and underappreciated. And I really wanted to show her that I cared. And I really wanted to show her that I was interested in her. I was interested in what she was about. I was interested in what she had to offer. I was interested in her. And obviously I went about it by taking a job for her, which I probably shouldn't have done. I should have just stayed as a happy customer and somebody that would just come by and support the business. But yet I took a job and, put myself through all this shit that I didn't think I could do, which obviously half of it I couldn't do, half of it I couldn't do, and half of it I had issues and things. And, obviously there were different things, that were going to be required of me that I couldn't do. So, but obviously, it's not that I don't like Tequana. It was not that I don't like Tequana, but there was also a DEI push with Tequana. And then Tequana and I had our own personal issues. Tequana and I had our own personal issues, especially with the fact that I knew she was being promiscuous. It's a kind of a huge boundary issue and red flag to put promiscuousism in certain things, especially within certain relationships. That obviously, if you want certain relationships and things to last, don't always come at it with like a promiscuous type of way. Don't always come at it with a very sexual promiscuous type of way with me, because if you want to come at me in a sexual promiscuous type of way, I'll sleep with you. Or I might sleep with you if I like you. I might sleep with you. I might, might get turned on. Might want a little bit of the piece of the pie, but nothing really lasts full term. Nothing really is full term. Obviously, I tried my best to reach out to Tequana. I reached out. Sorry, hold on. So I reached out my best to try to reach out to Tequana about just trying to talk to her and stuff, because obviously there was an issue with somebody, another black person that I obviously knew from my mental health program. That, as I said before, there were certain people within my mental health program who can't deal with their feelings and things, or can't deal with their own issues and things, that I was kind of beefing with and stuff, because I would either ask them out for food or a date, or we would obviously just have issues over women or friendships or etc. But that was obviously going on with my neighbor next door at the time, because I had a pregnant black neighbor that was going on with, something was going on with her and another guy. So I would get off my property. I would get off my property and I would go downtown and I would go to Tequannas and I would go in and I'd get myself some food and sit in Tequannas and just get myself something to eat. And I started talking to Tequana, and I started talking to her about me being an artist. I started talking to her about, me doing what I needed to do, as trying to, be somebody within the community, like herself, that was obviously trying to, grow and adapt as somebody who was going to be well known. Granted, overall time, Tequana didn't like Torrington. Tequana didn't like the atmosphere of Torrington. She didn't like a lot of the people in Torrington because she said she even had people come into her store and they were acting kind of like nutty and stuff like that. And she felt very weird and unsafe that people came to her store acting nutty and stuff, and she didn't make her feel well. So, um, then again, she might have been actually, that actually might have been where some of the rumors from my mental health started and stuff like that, because there was a lot of issues about so-called things being said about my mental health and etc. when it came to Tequana and the situation for working for Tequana. I mean, obviously Tequana had a lot of turnover. Tequana had a lot of turnover, and I knew she had a lot of turnover. She was looking for help. She was looking for the work because obviously she hired a couple people, and a couple people had to be fired. A couple people had to quit and stuff like that. And there some people, and the woman that was my coworker didn't even like Tequana. The woman that was my coworker did not even like Tequana. She needed the job, she needed the money, she needed the job, so she stayed to do what she could do for Tequana. How long did she stay and how long did she do it? I don't know, but um, she was trying her best. She was trying her best to try really hard to stay for Tequana, even though Tequana sometimes, as she called her, was a bitch, to her. She was a bitch to me too. Obviously, I'm not gonna lie. She was kind of a bitch to me too. And I think when I realized how much she was acting in such a way that how much she did not really care as much as I would have cared to get to know her and etc. And how much I was caring to put myself in these positions. I kind of had to find myself in a position where because I kind of had to find myself in a position like, do I go into work the next day? Do I go into work the next day because she's counting on me to come back into work the next day because she needs somebody. She needs somebody to man her store, and if she doesn't get somebody to man her store, she might not be able to do this or that. Unfortunately, I didn't go into work the next day. I didn't go into Tequana's the next day within 24 to like 48 hours. I didn't go back into Tequana's. I didn't even show up at all. I kind of just moved on with my life and etc. Got involved with a friend named Greg. Greg and I used to do a lot of walking around town and stuff, and sometimes we would just walk past Tequana's and stuff like that. But Greg even whispered to me and said, that place just seems like a dead fish. That seems they're not going to last. I said, yeah, Greg. I mean, obviously they might not, but I mean, I was very distraught when I left Tequana's, and I mean, some of it was personal, and some of it I really wish I could say to her, but obviously I don't think she was going to hear me out to begin with. About what I wanted to say to her, about the fact that I might have liked her, and the fact that part of me really wanted to care for what she was going to do and how she was going to be, hopefully something great in Torrington and stuff like that. But she didn't really care for Torrington. She didn't really care for me. I was just used as a pawn, and the whole situation was obviously, the thing that ended her business, because obviously she doesn't treat her employees well. She didn't treat me well. She didn't treat her employees well, and nobody really wanted to work for her in the end. And so she, a couple of months later, has to close up and not be a business. I mean, she had a couple people like loyal customers come in that she made friends with and stuff like that. That obviously became like some of her loyal friends and fan base, but was some of that because she was promiscuous and kind of being in lingerie and doing all these slutty nasty things about being in lingerie and etc. and stuff like that for the sake of her music career. I don't even know, but regardless, I've been through a lot of DEI, and DEI was pushing some of that Tequana stuff too. I mean, the cultural group took total advantage of Tequana being the first black business and stuff in town, and the whole cultural group was there. And I was trying to be respectful because I didn't really want to not be. I mean, I didn't really care for the cultural group. I don't care for the cultural group, and I'm hopefully there's no cultural group at all, thanks to the ending of DEI. But um, I didn't really care for the cultural group, but I was trying to be really nice to them just because I didn't really want to put a bad impression on Tequana that I was being rude to anybody in her store. But I really did not like the cultural group being there at all. But obviously, obviously Tequana wanted an urban environment. My coworker would put on like gospel music. My coworker would put on gospel music and play gospel music and stuff, and really be rocking out to the gospel music. Which gospel music is obviously a black cultural thing, and gospel music is obviously something that But obviously Tequana wanted it to be an urban environment. She wanted it to be more like R&B and hip hop and rap and kind of raunchy stuff and stuff like that to really draw more of the black culture into her store. No, but I did like the thing is I did like Tequana. I really did like Tequana. I mean, I would have slept with Tequana. If the things turned out differently and Tequana said, "Would you sleep with me?" I would have said yes. I would have said yes. I would have slept with Tequana. I mean, I probably would have slept with Tequana. I mean, there's a couple people. I mean, obviously, there's a couple people within the DEI community that I was either friends with or in my friendship circle that obviously were pretty, and I've actually tried to ask out for food or coffee, or had gotten myself involved with over some stuff, and it turned out to be some stupid shit because obviously, the DEI stuff and all this, anti, whiteism and racism and stuff that people are playing and stuff like that. That obviously is, sweeping over everything because of DEI that obviously, kind of ruined everything. But there's a couple people I would have either taken out for food or slept with if I had given the opportunity. As a matter of fact, there's not too many of them left on my Facebook page. There might be a couple people left. Honestly, open to God. I mean, they might not have connections to those people anymore. There might not be too many people that have connections to those people anymore. But there are people on my Facebook page that there's a couple people that I actually have talked to and I actually have flirted with and etc. that I've actually kind of, interacted with that I still talk to that I do find pretty and stuff. A lot of people have obviously put me in the friend zone though, because a lot of people are from North Carolina, they're from, New York and stuff, but they all have husbands or boyfriends or just live too far to really have a relationship or any type of connection, etc. But then again, some people might want to go slow. Some people might want to start off as friends and see where it leads and then go from there. But there was a boundary. It was a boundary issue. One of the biggest boundary issues was having an employer that I know was being promiscuous on the job. She wanted everything. She wanted the business. She wanted the name in Torrington. Eventually, she wanted to really blow up and really be one of the ultimate businesses in Torrington. But then again, she's also on the side too because it's her business, and she's also with got some of these men coming in there, and I overhear her talking about having a threesome. Over there on New Year's Eve, hearing her talk about having a threesome, going somewhere and having a threesome with the three guys and etc. On New Year's Eve and etc. And the truth is, I asked her about that. She dismissed it and she brushed it off. But I asked her about it. I'm like, what did I hear about this threesome thing? And she just looked at me and brushed it off, like I wasn't, like I was born yesterday or something. Like I didn't hear what I actually heard. So. I mean, there was a mattress. There was a mattress in Tequana's store. I mean, it was for her kids, I think, because she had like a thing of like up in her store. There was like a stairwell that goes up to like the third floor, and she had like a mattress up there for her kids. But I mean, the way it was so gruddy and nasty and stuff, I'm hoping it was for her kids and not for something else. But yeah, my mind went into the gutter already, just knowing she was promiscuous and etc. And then there was a mattress up there that was not looking, that was actually discolored and not looking totally 100%. I mean, I could have took pictures. I mean, I could have took pictures of it and etc. Because I know she threw it out before when she left. She dragged it to the dumpster and then she closed up her store. And I knew the dumpster where she threw it out at. But I'm not going to touch that thing. It was so nasty and gruddy. It was disgusting. So. But I mean, the things I witnessed and the things I kind of wondered about Tequana. I mean, Tequana was obviously nice enough to give me some type of work. I mean, or give me some type of chance to show that I could prove myself. But obviously, I think we both let each other down. I don't think it was just me. I don't think it was just me. I think Tequana really needed to get her work game together, her boss bitch ass together. She need to get that boss bitch mode together. She need to be like a boss bitch and get that shit together where she can get, she shows up like a boss bitch to get shit done for her business, and she didn't do that. She didn't do that. She wanted us to do all the manual labor and stuff during the day. She wanted to come in during the night and just act like her presence was there to just serve a couple people and go home, and then maybe shoot her ass for music videos, because she does music videos too. Raunchy, disgusting, explicit music videos, but she does music videos. I don't want to even say disgusting, because obviously there would be a point in my time where I would get off on them, but I mean, obviously at the same time, it's like. I mean, people look at me strange for saying that, but I mean, there'd be a point in my time where I probably would have got off on them. I think now that I kind of realized, my issues with Tequana and the fact that there were issues and things, and the fact that I'm kind of turned off from Tequana in a way that it kind of turns me off from some of her promiscuous things. It kind of looks more for promiscuous things more in a negative light now, compared to maybe at the start of things, where maybe it could have been a more positive light depending on the situation, but it was a very negative light, and I knew she was being promiscuous and etc. So, but DEI and woke culture help destroy, Tequana's soul food and sweets too. Also, the fact that nobody could really take a job for her because she was all, the terrible boss, or nobody really, it was during the pandemic too. I mean, a lot of businesses during the pandemic didn't make it. So. But I almost could have been the best customer. I've almost could have been the best customer. I've almost could have did a lot of stuff for Tequana, and I could have, part of me risked my neck and risked a lot for Tequana already as it was, and I had to make a choice. Do I continue risking my neck, and do I continue risking a lot of stuff for Tequana and showing her that showing her that I do have a heart, and my heart kind of does want to care for her, and show her that I like her business, and show her that I like what she's about, or do I save my heart and my situation and just pack up my shit and leave? And at the end of the day, I think I made the best choice to just pack up my shit and leave and just try to go about my own thing, because she already said it to me too. If you let me down on the job and etc., you can never come back to Tequana Soul Food and Sweets. You can never come back to Tequana Soul Food and Sweets. You can never eat here again. You can never be, come back to the business. So it was already said and done, when that situation had happened. So, I mean, I already screwed that relationship just about into the ground. So I just walked off and never went back. And she closed within a couple of months. I don't know what the hell happened, or where she went, or what happened to her. But I mean, she had a lot of turnover and stuff like that. So, she's promiscuous. She's sexual, and a lot of people are going to use DEI for make that an excuse that, like, well, she can be sexual all she wants. She can do what she wants with her body all she wants. I mean, honestly, people need to not promote themselves in a sexual way, and they don't expect guys or people to kind of, feel some type of way about it, That's the thing I don't like about DEI, is they give people like sex workers and stuff an excuse to promote themselves in a sexual way, and then when guys get off to it in a certain way and etc., and there's issues, everybody has a gripe or a bitch to have, to bitch at you with, But anyways, that's all I really had to say at this point. So. But I mean, I didn't mean to lose the beat poets, but the beat poets, most of all, is what I was talking about. Is that the beat poets themselves? There was a lot of push for DEI. There was a lot of push for things of DEI and stuff. There were a lot of between me and the person who runs the National Beat Poetry Foundation. There were a lot of disagreements and stuff about going forward with some of these people in friendship circles with people who supported the DEI, and how they treated me in business and etc. So, obviously, the beats are Republican. Some of the beats are Republican, and that's the sad thing about it, is that, and that's a true fact in history, that some of the beats were Republican. Republicans didn't actually support. Some Republican beats actually did support, the Republican Party. So it's not like I wouldn't have been out of the Republican Party if I still had the beats. I would still be with the, be with the beats. But because of the cultural push and because of like the censorship motives and all these motives that people are trying to hide in DEI and stuff like that, that's where I think that she got won over or decided she was going to support or whatever else she was going to do. And not only that, after Tequannas and stuff too, there was a lot of issues about my mental health and how my mental well-being was, and who has seen Carl, what's happened to Carl, what's going on with Carl's mental well-being, mental health, mental health, mental health. I mean, I got told the cops got called. I got told the cops got called. I got told the cops got called, and once I realized I was told the cops got called, they were coming to my door and etc. I decided I wasn't going down to the bookstore, John Noelke's bookstore, or Tequannas Soul Food and Sweets at all because of the DEI push and stuff like that, and all the stuff that they're trying to get me involved now within legal dramas and stuff like that. I was going to Trinity Episcopal Church and doing the open mic nights and reading my poems and still getting published with the National Beat Poetry Foundation. Like up until probably about a year or two ago, up until about a year or two ago, I was still going to Trinity Episcopal Church and doing that, and I was also still trying to support Kelly's Crystals, which is a boutique shop that obviously has crystals and some things that were more spiritual in nature that I was getting for myself to really explore my spirituality and stuff like that, which I haven't really been back to back with them because some of their friends and stuff like that are people on the Arts Council and stuff like that have pushed this DEI, movement and all this other stuff where there's been issues and things like that. So there's also been issues within my mental health program too. My mental health program has also had another issue too, because I've had issues with like having certain people in my mental health program get involved and stuff too. Because I've had times where people have caused like dramas and things outside of the program and stuff, and have caused issues and things that have kind of affected me and my opportunities and stuff with local businesses and stuff like that. So I've had issues and kind of conflictions with the mental health program too. So, I mean, I don't really know who the fuck actually called the cops. It could have just been my mental health program because obviously, I know there's certain people that obviously can get a look at my Facebook page, especially now that I've actually, especially now that certain people have more of an access to, my Facebook pages, because I've talked to certain people within the Demas, the program and the Demas, organization, that there's people that obviously can see my Facebook page and stuff like that. But I don't care. I'm still going to do what I need to do and still say what I got to say, But regardless, somebody could have thought that I was kind of flustered or, kind of really flustered or not feeling, mentally up to par, and decided I was going to call the cops on him or, do something because his mental health looked kind of at jeopardy. And I feel like as a worker, I feel responsible. So I want to have somebody, check on him just to make sure he's mentally well. A lot of it was DEI. A lot of it was the anti-white push. A lot of it was a cultural push that was very toxic and abusive, and very just unhelpful to society. Whether people believe it or not, whether what side you're on, who knows? But that's all I got to say at this point. I got to get off this Facebook Live. The bottom line is, though, is that I wanted to be with the Beats. Don't get me wrong. I wanted to be with the Beats. I still wanted to have my poems published and stuff, but we had differences over going forward in the future with different artists and etc., different local artists and stuff, that some of the people that obviously I've talked about that have obviously supported DEI or have called the cops on me or made a lot of this drama for me in the first place when it came to DEI and, the cops and, my mental health and etc. So, I mean, obviously I made some choices too, but I mean, I was trying not to include everybody in some of the downfalls of my choices and etc. But obviously some of that might have already kind of been too late, or already kind of blown up out of proportion regardless. So there's nothing I can do about it. But anyways, the Beats are supposed to be Republican, and I am Republican. So, I mean, I still am thankful for the time I spent with the Beats. I'm still thankful for the time I spent with the publishers. But am I going to continue with the publishers and the Beats? Who knows? Because me and the head of the Beat Poetry Foundation have a lot of issues regarding my mental health and etc. Regarding where I'm at, regarding where I'm at and etc. right now in this at the state and time. So I don't know. I'm just like shaking my head and just like, whatever at this point. So, but DEI is harmful. Anti-whiteness is harmful. Racism, racism again, colorism, racism is harmful. Seeing color is harmful. All these things are like, predatory and very harmful to life and society, and it's been happening. So, anyways, just wanted to get that off my chest.